My own brother forged my dead father's signature to cut me out of the will. He got the house. He got the money. He got everything, except one thing he never saw coming. 6 years later, I bought that exact same house and I was sitting in his old bedroom, drinking coffee, while he stood outside the gate begging me to let him in. This is the story of how I lost everything, and took it all back. My name doesn't matter. What matters is what happened the week my father died. I was the son who took care of him. 3 years of hospital visits, medication schedules, sleepless nights while my older brother Daniel was too busy with work to show up more than twice a month. My sister Claire sent flowers. That was her contribution. When my father passed, I was heartbroken, but I wasn't worried. He had told me himself, more than once, sitting in that hospital bed, "The house is yours, son. You earned it." 2 weeks after the funeral, I got a call from a lawyer I had never heard of. There was a new will filed just 4 months before my father died, at a time when his memory was already slipping, when he could barely hold a pen steady. The house, the savings, the antique furniture he had promised me, all of it went to Daniel. I got a small personal belongings clause, worth maybe $300. I knew immediately something was wrong. My father's hands trembled when he tried to write his own name in his final months. But this signature was clean, steady, confident. When I took it to a lawyer, I heard exactly what anyone in my position hears: proving forgery or undue influence is incredibly difficult. You need handwriting experts, medical records, witnesses. It could take years and cost more than the inheritance itself. Daniel knew that. That is exactly why he did it. I wish I could tell you I fought back immediately, hired a lawyer, dragged my brother into court. I didn't. I was grieving. I was exhausted. And honestly, fighting my own brother in court over our dead father's house felt like it would finish breaking something that was already shattered. So I did the only thing that felt like it preserved my dignity. I walked away. I didn't go to the reception at his new house. I blocked Daniel's number. I told Claire I needed space, and she didn't push. She had her own guilt to sit with. For a while, people called me weak for not fighting. Looking back, I wasn't weak. I was just patient in a way nobody around me could see yet. Because there is one thing my family never understood about me. When I am hurt, I don't get loud. I get focused. I took what little I had, everything I had saved over the years, and I made one decision. I was going to build something Daniel could never forge his way into. The next 6 years are a long story: a second job, a business I started in my apartment, failures, one investment that actually paid off. What matters is this: while Daniel was living in our father's house, coasting on something he didn't earn, I was building. Quietly. Relentlessly. In the background of his life. 2 years in, I heard through Claire that Daniel had taken out a second mortgage against the house to fund a business venture. Of course he had. He never respected what that house represented. To him it was just an asset to leverage, not a home our father built with his own hands. 4 years in, the venture failed. Badly. By year 6, I had a real estate contact quietly monitoring foreclosure filings in our old hometown for exactly one address. When that address finally showed up, I didn't celebrate. I just made one phone call. I bought the house at auction. Through an LLC, with my name nowhere on the paperwork that Daniel could easily trace. I didn't do it out of revenge for the sake of revenge. I did it because that house was never supposed to leave our family the way it did, through a forged signature and a dying man's shaking hand. Buying it back wasn't about punishing Daniel. It was about correcting something that was broken the day that fake will was filed. I spent the next several months renovating it. Slowly. Carefully. I kept my father's old reading chair. I refinished the kitchen table where he used to do crossword puzzles on Sunday mornings. I turned his study back into exactly what it used to be. Then, almost a year after the foreclosure, Daniel showed up at the gate. He didn't know it was me. Not until I walked outside. The look on his face when he saw me standing in our father's doorway is something I will remember for the rest of my life. Not because it was satisfying in some cruel way, but because for the first time in 6 years, I watched him understand, instantly and completely, exactly what he had done. He didn't yell. He didn't accuse me of anything. He just asked, quietly, how I told him the truth. I didn't take anything from you, Daniel. I just stopped waiting for you to give back what was never yours to take. I let him stand there a moment longer than I needed to. Then I told him he could come inside for coffee, if he wanted to talk like family again. He didn't come in that day. He needed time. And honestly, so did I. A few months later, Daniel and I started talking again, slowly, carefully, the way two people try to rebuild something after it has been broken in the worst possible way. He never fully admitted to forging the signature. Some truths people cannot say out loud, even when everyone already knows them. But he did say one thing that stuck with me. He said, "You did what I never had the patience to do. You built something real instead of just taking what was already there." I didn't buy that house for revenge. I bought it because something's patience, integrity, the quiet decision to build instead of break cannot be forged. Not even with the steadiest hand. If anyone in your life has ever tried to take from you what you worked for, remember this: the version of you that gets even loudly is forgettable. The version of you that gets even quietly, that is the one people remember for the rest of their lives. If this story hit different, smash that like button. Subscribe for more real stories like this. And drop a comment below. Has someone in your family ever betrayed your trust? Let me know. I read every single one.